Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Premier League predictions for round 5. I don't know why I'm smiling at the start of the show. I just do it instinctively. I lost due to a 95th minute Danny Ings goal last week on the predictions. Let us know how you got on in the comments. Both Mikey and myself got 7 correct outcomes, which is actually very good. But Mikey, Ings takes it for you. You're 3-1 up. However, I am 34-32 up in terms of actual points. So congratulations on your win, but real quiz,
Yeah, I wonder whether you would be mentioning these points, Ben, if you were leading 3-1. Probably not. But there we are. Danny Ings saved the day for West Ham, and he saved the day for me. They all count.
I think it's good to be honest about these things. I mentioned both to highlight whichever one I'm doing better in. I will at some point start measuring outcomes and 3-pointers. And if I'm number one in those, I'll mention those as well because I'm very childish. But let's get into round 5 in the Premier League. Get involved in the comments as ever. Give yourself 1 point for a correct outcome. And 7 out of 10 for me and Mikey last week. Not bad at all. Give yourself 3 points if you're really jammy like Mikey, and you might happen to get a 95th minute equaliser to make your score come in. And give yourself a bonus point if your match has more than 5 or more goals, basically, for your bonus point. And this one sounds a bit narky, doesn't it? West Ham versus Chelsea, Mikey.
Yeah, a bit of a geezer derby, this one, isn't it? As I mentioned, Danny Ings rescued a point for West Ham, but I think their fans are a little bit concerned by the fact that Julian Lopetegui went for quite a defensive midfield 3 and left Lucas Paquetá on the bench. That's not a great sign for them because they've obviously put up with a pragmatic manager over the years and were hoping for something quite different, but he did bring him on at halftime. At least he saw that it wasn't really working with Souček in the more attacking role. Chelsea also got a late goal away at Bournemouth. The clean sheet is probably the thing that will please Maresca the most because clean sheets are a sign that you're getting things right and things are starting to look a little bit more organised. And Kunku will hope that he gets to start after scoring the match winner. I fancy Chelsea to edge this one in another tight game. I'm going West Ham 0, Chelsea 2.
Yeah, I think I'm going to back Chelsea.
West Ham 1, Chelsea 2.
Oh, okay. That might be a bit of a scribble for me then. I think I'm going to back Chelsea as well. I'm actually quite enjoying them at the moment now, which I didn't think I was going to. They're not quite as crazy as I thought they were going to be, especially going 1-0 and winning away at Bournemouth in that manner. You've taken the 2-1. So I'll go to your misspeak beforehand and take that as my prediction then and go West Ham 0, Chelsea 2. So we are all in on Chelsea this week. It's Aston Villa versus Wolves. And we joke that these predictions are not meant to be biased, but predicting the teams anywhere near Ipswich in the table to lose every week has been a bit of a theme. But Aston Villa are very good and are in the same echelon of the table that they were in last season, up in 5th spot with 3 wins for 4. Wolves are struggling, no wins. So I am going to be back in Aston Villa. Bit of a crazy one against Everton, a bit loose. So maybe they'll tighten it up a little bit. Let's go Aston Villa 1, Wolves 0.
Okay, yeah, I'm also going for an Aston Villa win, but with more goals. I'm going for Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1. Ollie Watkins is back scoring goals, isn't he? So I fancy him to score again in this one. And Wolves, they've been okay this season, but just struggling to put a real 90-minute performance in. And I see their weakness being at fullback defensively, and I think that's an area where Villa can exploit. Villa are in Champions League action in this midweek. They'll have already played by the time this goes out, though. It's not a bad fixture, though. They're playing away at Young Boys, but it's an early kickoff on a Tuesday, so shouldn't do too much damage to the Villa squad.
No, absolutely. And we are on next to the Louis Saha, Kevin Keegan derby. It's Fulham versus Newcastle, Mikey.
Very nice. Lee Clark as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Beautiful.
going to fling an extra one in there. Yeah, they led for such a long time against West Ham, Fulham, so they'll be really frustrated not to have got the win there. Looks like Jimenez is going to have a little run in the sides. He's got the shirt and he scored the goal against West Ham. Newcastle certainly have some character and bottle this season. They've all of their games have been really tight, and they've generally come out on top in the fine margins. But Isak went off at half time for them in that game. That's a little bit of a worry. But you'd expect Harvey Barnes to get a start after that fantastic goal he scored the other day. So I imagine it will be Anthony Gordon playing sort of through the middle with Barnes off the left. But I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I think Newcastle's luck is going to run out somewhat, and I'm going to go for a third straight 1-1 draw for Fulham. Thank
goodness, because I've got the Desmond down. I don't know whether that's purely just because it's a massively Kevin Keegan type scoreline, but I've liked Fulham, and you're right, they're a bit unlucky not to beat West Ham, weren't they? And Newcastle kind of looked good in patches, but like you say, it's been a lot of tight games, and they went behind against Wolves to get the win there. So we'll go for an entertaining draw and get comfortable now, because we are into the first of our relegation head-to-heads. It's Leicester versus Everton. And my God, I mean, I know what Leicester are going to do, Mikey. They're going to try and keep it tight, get a clean sheet and win 1-0. I've got no idea what Everton are going to do, though, unless we go for them to go 2-0 up and win and lose 3-2 again, which they've done the past 2 weeks. That cannot happen. Surely this is under 2.5 on the goals. And people are going to think this is an Ipswich prediction, but it's genuinely what I think is going to happen. The most unhelpful draw possible, Mikey. Leicester 1, Everton 1. Can't separate them under 2.5.
Okay. I think you asked somebody last week to put in the comments what our league tables would look like if all of our predictions were right. And there's some teams that I just badly overestimate, and Everton so far have been one of them. And I'm possibly going to make that mistake again here, because I'm going to go for Everton to edge this one 2-1. Leicester have scored in every game. They've got that going for them. And Jamie Vardy just slotted straight back in the Premier League like he hasn't been away. Everton, there might be a little bit of panic there, Ben, but Jordan Pickford is playing in the BMW Championship Pro-Am on Wednesday. So obviously not too much panic in the Everton camp.
Good player, is he?
And I'm going to assume he is with that hand-eye coordination. So yeah, I'm going for Everton to finally do the trick, a 2-1 win.
Brilliant stuff. And we'll stay on Merseyside. Liverpool, Bournemouth, use whatever word you like. I'm going to go shock. Home defeat. First league win for Nottingham Forest at Anfield in 55 years. Brian Clough never did it. Surely Arne Slot's going to bounce back, Mikey. Liverpool, Bournemouth.
Yeah. I mean, nobody saw that defeat coming for Liverpool, did they? Least of all us. We both went for comfortable Liverpool victories. Slot has only made one change to his starting 11 all season, and that was Konate coming in for Kwanzaa after he was struggling a little bit against Liam Delap on the opening day of the season. But now Liverpool are playing in Milan in the Champions League in midweek, so I think it will be quite a different Liverpool team that we see on Saturday. And I do fully expect them to bounce back, but I don't think they're going to completely sweep aside a Bournemouth side who have had a pretty good start to the season themselves, probably underperforming on points. They deserve more points based on their performances, but I'm going for a solid Liverpool 2-0 win.
Yeah, let's be honest. Bournemouth should have scored against Chelsea, shouldn't they? Missed a penalty, 1.78 XG, 19 shots, says my iPad right in front of me. So I'm going to go for the Liverpool win, Mikey, but Bournemouth to score. What did you go for? You didn't take 2-1, did you?
No, I went for 2-0.
There you go. Okay, I'll slide in nicely on the 2-1 then. I've been successful with 2-0, but I do think I agree with you that Bournemouth, strong side going forward, and yeah, maybe a little bit under where they should be points-wise thus far, given the performances. I'm procrastinating because it's Southampton versus Ipswich, Mikey, and I think for the first time, I've not done this all season on this show, I think I'm going to predict an Ipswich win. There's not going to be many of these this season where I have the brass neck to do this, but let's be fair, Southampton really owe Ipswich one after last season. Ipswich doing the double and a famous win at Portman Road. I just feel with the momentum, Mikey, and the additions and the differences in the sides, if Ipswich were a bit fortuitous, maybe to take all 6 points off Southampton last season. I think where the teams are now, I think I'm going to back Ipswich, and I'm going to say, it makes me nervous to even say this scoreline: Southampton 0, Ipswich 1.
Which was the result at St Mary's last season. I'm going to also
I was there.
Shock horror. I was also there. I'm also shock horror going to go for a narrow Ipswich win. I'm going for 2-1. Now, Southampton, they did play some really good stuff against Manchester United, but as soon as they conceded, they struggled. Whereas Ipswich didn't play particularly well at Brighton, but never conceded. So that's a good sign for Ipswich. And I just feel on the back of that clean sheet, we're going to have a little bit more confidence defensively than Southampton. And I think we're going to be a bit more ambitious than we were at Brighton. So, yeah, a 2-1 Ipswich win.
What could possibly go wrong? Remember, we will issue a public apology. We've got one to issue to Nottingham Forest later on in the show, to Southampton if that goes the other way. Spurs versus Brentford, Mikey, in the Brennan Johnson derby. No, he never played for Brentford. He was going to go to Brentford. He went to Spurs. I'm talking nonsense. Carry on.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Brennan Johnson, because I think a lot of Tottenham fans are starting to lose patience in Ange Postecoglou and starting to question why he always picks Brennan Johnson, which is a bit of a shame, because I think there's a real player in there. But they just didn't create enough chances in the North London derby, and the changes that Postecoglou made just didn't get them going at all. Brentford, another fantastic effort at Man City. There was a Brentford fan in the comments, Ben, last week, who pointed out that Brentford had never lost against Manchester City by more than one goal since they've been in the Premier League. If only we'd have seen that before we did our predictions, because that was how it turned out there. And as a nod to that and how solid Brentford are and what a great coach Thomas Frank is, I'm going to go for them to get a point here in this London derby. I'm going Tottenham 1, Brentford 1.
Yeah, that's a scribble for me. So what I might do is back the Spurs win then, and Ange to have things come round. But yeah, if that continues, you know how that goes. If you're manager of Spurs and you're, where is he, 13th in the table at the moment with only one win for 4. So I'll go for him to get the second win. But to that Brentford fan in the comments, yeah, I'll agree, and I will go Spurs 2, Brentford 1. God, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. Didn't Palace absolutely thrash Man United at the end of last season? It was like 4-0 or 3-0 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 4-0, and Casemiro had an absolute nightmare. There's that footage, I think, from the referee. The referee,
that's brilliant, wasn't it?
Had a body cam thing, and yeah, you saw Elise just basically stroll through the middle of the Manchester United back line and slot home. They obviously don't have him anymore. And Palace looked really shaky defensively against Leicester on Saturday. But Jean-Philippe Nteta, I mentioned that he was having a break because he wasn't called up to France, and he looked better for it. He scored 2 goals for Palace. So he's up and running, and Nketiah also had a positive debut. But Manchester United fans will hope that Onana penalty save at Southampton is the turning point for their season. Marcus Rashford scored after it, which was surprising to some, but good to see him scoring goals again. And Højlund might be back for this one. No European football this week for Manchester United. They're playing Barnsley in the...
Hold your prediction, Mikey, because I've got to go first. Continue with the setup, but make sure you let me go in first, because people will complain in the comments if we break the rules.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Ben, go on. What is your prediction for this game?
Well, I mean, that was a lovely setup, and you always. I wanted a bit. I wanted to be led, Mikey, because I have not got a clue for what's going to happen on this. Because I could go down the Palace at home, bloody the nose of the big boys, win a game, but I feel that kind of happened in the last one. I could go for the Man United being not very good but still winning. I think I'll go for the Man United being not very good but still winning, and I'll go. They're not going to keep a clean sheet, are they? Not at Palace. So, let's play for a bonus point. Palace 2, Man United 3.
Lovely. I was worried that I was going to have to scribble there. I've gone for Palace 1, Manchester United 2.
Yeah, we were thinking on similar lines very much. So you're up first, Mikey, in which case it's Brighton Forest, so you can issue the public apologies to Nottingham Forest. Last week we both predicted they would lose, and they quite brilliantly won at Anfield.
They did, yeah. Incredible result, and apparently well deserved as well. I always talk when I do speak about Nottingham Forest. Generally, I go that they're gonna draw or they're gonna lose, but they've got great attacking players. They've got Chris Wood through the middle, and then they've got the likes of Alanga, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Callum Hudson-Odoi behind them. And yeah, they have got all of that. But yeah, a wonderful goal from Hudson-Odoi, and he just loves that move, doesn't he? Cutting in and then bending it into that bottom corner. But it's about time that I mentioned the defence as well. And in Murillo, and is it Milinkovic? Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. They look like a fantastic partnership. Murillo's a fantastic footballer, but a really, really strong defender as well. So there we go, Nottingham Forest fans, bigging you up there. I was impressed by Brighton as well the weekend. I was there. They were frustrated by Ipswich, but they played some really nice football, especially in the first half. And they were missing João Pedro, who is surely going to be back for this one. I can't pick between these two. It's again, I can't, like, normally I go for a Brighton win here, but with the form that Forest are in and how solid they're looking, I'm going for another 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I'm kind of down the middle on a draw, and that's not quite a scribble for me because I haven't committed to anything. So I think I'm going to go for an away win, Mikey, just to fully embrace the Nottingham Forest train here. And can Brighton get shut out 2 weeks running? I mean, in theory, they've got better players and a better defensive Forest have than Ipswich, and Ipswich managed to do that, although maybe Forest won't have to cling on quite how Ipswich did. The only result I can come up with other than a 1-1 is either a 1-0 to Brighton or a 1-0 to Forest, and I've said I'm going to go away win. So that is exactly what I'm going to say. Brighton 0, Nottingham Forest 1, which leaves us to a wonderful hyper super mega Sunday game, and it is the mother of all hyper super mega Sunday games. It's Man City versus Arsenal. I wonder, Mikey, whether Arsenal are going to try and do exactly the same thing they did last year and draw at the Etihad and try and beat Man City down at the Emirates. Sorry, forgive me, my airlines from that particular part of the world. I'm getting them mixed up. Wasn't enough, though, was it? Because you know Man City are going to win 10 games on the trot at some point in the rest of the season. But let's go for Arsenal to nick the draw and set things up. I know all eyes are on the courtroom for Man City this week. Let's go. I think Arsenal will take the lead and it will be a 1-1 draw.
Okay. I think there's lots of logic there. But because I haven't gone for a bonus point score in this, I'm going for Manchester City.
Here we go. 4-1. Here comes the 4-1.
No, not 4-1 this time. I'm going 3-2. And the only reason I can really give for there maybe being a bit of chaos and a bit more of a basketball match than it was last season is that they're both in Champions League action. Man City are playing Inter on Wednesday. Arsenal, I think, are playing at Atalanta on Thursday, which isn't ideal at all. So I think this game could be a little bit more chaotic than we might expect. I hope that it is. 3-2 for Manchester City is my prediction for that one.
Mate, you got the TV companies will be salivating at the possibility of that. And I'm salivating at the possibility of seeing your predictions down there in the comments. Get involved. Normal scoring applies here. And remember, we are on the Blue Monday channel and on the Benjamin Bloom Football channel right here. So wherever you're watching from, get your predictions in the comments. You can copy and paste from the description in the chapters, all of the fixtures and scores, as I said at the top of the show. Give yourself a point. You get the correct outcome, 7 apiece. Again, I'm going to flag that up again for me and Mikey last week, and give yourself 3 for a correct scoreline. And if, like Mikey, you get a 3-2 that is predicted for Man City versus Arsenal, give yourself a bonus point as well. Mikey, last word from you on the week. Both of us predict an Ipswich Town win.
Yeah, just fingers crossed for that one, Ben. I'm away at a wedding. I think I might be on a table with a Southampton fan. So that might be one where we get the phone out to just try and follow that one. But yeah, fingers crossed Ipswich get the win. Sorry, Southampton fans.
Brilliant stuff. See you all next week.